I assume you all have gone through the Tuesday lecture, which is on a project life cycle. And before we go into that, okay, there is a request to do a mentor-mentee sessions, which I have to do I will do for year 4 to year 2 on like a general basis. So what time would you guys be available? Like say sometime in 2 weeks time? Yeah, in 2 weeks time. Which day is usually good? Friday? Who's my mentee here? Nobody can hear me, is it?
And doctor, you mean the IDP or the actual mentor-mentee?
The actual mentor-mentee.
Okay, not me then.
Yeah. Actual mentor-mentee.
Sir,
Yeah.
your voice is sometimes fading.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I mean I can't clearly hear you sometimes. Like your voice faded.
Now okay?
Can you try again?
Okay, blah 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 blah
Okay,
blah.
this is okay.
I have to unplug my camera totally. I can't even plug in my camera for some reason. Okay.
Okay, this is better.
Okay, good. Okay, mentor-mentee sessions. It's not that urgent. I mean, like you guys are, no matter 10 times I talk to you, your grade is still about the same anyway. So it's just formality lah, huh? Should we do it like before the break week, or yeah, I think we should do it before the break week? Would it be too late, or you want to do it a bit earlier? You want to do it earlier, then it will be next week, maybe around 12, 10 or 12, or we can do it on the 26th of November. Friday?
No problem with me.
Okay. For my mentor-mentee, for my mentor-mentee. I will do it like from year 2 to year 4, one shot lah, huh? Just say hi to everybody and ask how everybody is and all that lah. Sessions, huh? Let me check what time was given to me by this this mentee. She's so into mentor-mentee sessions. She sort of bugged me so badly last week. Yeah, so Friday, you guys want to do it around 1:30? Or you guys some of you are having your prayer time, huh? 2? Friday, 2 p.m. Okay, right. So this is only relevant to my mentor-mentee, yeah. Okay. Let's do it on the 26th of November. Okay, now we are clear. 2 p.m. and is everybody free? Is there any, is everybody free on certain time? Like, I'm sure, some of you are actually wanting to talk about IDP already. It's coming into week 2, ending week 2, 3, 4. Would you want a session on the 5th or 12th, Macam tu? To just talk about, you guys are doing conceptual report now, are you?
Yes, conceptual.
Your conceptual report is also due at the end, right? It's not like one shot deal, right? It's actually, sorry, it's actually one shot deal at the end, right? Not like in the 5th week or 6th week, right?
Yeah, it's week 14 deal, I think.
Week 14 deal, huh? So now it's a question of what you should be putting in your conceptual report with project management items, right?
Yes, we actually need your help very much.
Yeah, can. Would you guys be available on Friday morning? You can do it next week.
Friday morning, from 8 to 10, we have a water resource engineering. It's a core course for everyone. And we have urban, what is that? The traffic, urban traffic design, something like that, from 10 to 12. Maybe not everyone is available.
Okay. That's fine. We just can find a time where everybody is around. I prefer to do it, finish up in the morning, and then you all can do other things in the afternoon. So Friday morning is basically out, and Thursday morning we have classes, so I don't want to touch that. Wednesday morning, Wednesday or Monday morning, how's everybody like?
Monday morning got water resource at 8 as well, and 10 got FYP. So Wednesday, I think is the best shot, but I'm not sure if everyone here can make it.
Wednesday, 10 o'clock. Okay, Wednesday, say, yeah, say 10 o'clock, 10:30, 10 o'clock, like that, huh? We just take about question and answer, Q&A, everything, whoever is my whoever is my IDP mentee, should attend, but I'll do it for everybody. And yeah, I mean, all the groups should have somebody. Now it's mostly everybody is okay, 10:30 like that, 10 to 10:30 like that on a Wednesday. Should we have it on the 3rd of November? Third is 4th week, huh? So I guess that is enough time for you to handle your conceptual report on the 4th week.
3rd of November is fine with me.
Okay, so I'll put it here, 3rd November 20. You have to remind me, like let's say on a Tuesday class, you remind me tomorrow got IDP mentor mentee IDP briefing.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, like I can be very, very forgetful, honestly. I have very good intention in making all the appointments, but I forget about them. Conceptual report, PM part. Say about 10 to 10:30. Whenever I'm ready, you just get ready around that time. Whenever I'm ready, I will message Anna. Okay. I will probably send you the link also later on, so that that will also remind me as well. So in case I've got something on, I'll be late or whatever, I'll let Anna know. So whenever I'm ready, I'll text Anna, and Anna can text everybody, and everybody can start to go online. But you'll be not later than 10:30 lah, huh? Okay. So that will be set. Anybody have any say objection to this matter? You better raise up your hands now. I want to see. Don't be shy. 103. Those people who don't come to classes, I don't know. So they have forfeited their right to make an objection. So those of you, I give you until the end of the class. If you have no objection to this time, we will not discuss this anymore, except on the 2nd, you have to remind me that there will be a conceptual report PM meeting. Okay. I will also probably brief you a little bit on the preliminary design also. I mean, just one shot. Then the next time we really meet for IDP, the scheduled time by Dr. Razak, it'll probably be a Q&A sessions more than a briefing anymore. Yeah, no objections so far, huh? So you guys think about it and let me know in about 1 hour time, okay? All right, let's go back to our normal things, okay? Because we have done project life cycle. Just to be careful, project life cycle
It's different from management control cycle. I mentioned this. Must be the third time I mentioned this. Okay. Third classes last week, this week, yes, on Tuesday today. Management control cycle is planning, leading, organizing, controlling. Those sort of is management control cycle. And then we have project life cycle, which you imagine as a life cycle, like the insect life cycle. Remember when you're doing your biology, you know, in your Form 5, Form 4, I mean, my daughter do it in primary 5, primary 3 now, the insects life cycles and all that. You imagine that life cycle, you know, starting from the egg to the, you know, to dying and all that to maturity and all that, the mosquitoes and all that. It's that life cycle, okay? So project life cycle, there's about 8 phases, which I design as 8 phases. So within the 8 phases, there are different activities that you have to take note of. And it's all in the recording. It's all in 5 recordings. And you will find that recordings are usually a lot shorter because we don't deal with mali mata things, you know, during the class, you see. And we don't deal with Q&A also. So it will be pure just me talking. So usually recording is a lot faster. Okay, it's the pure essence, the essence of everything. So just in one few shots, okay? So don't be surprised when you see recording. Hey, how come the lecture time always 1 hour plus 1.5 hours, but the things recording is always like 15 minutes, 16 minutes, 14 minutes like that. Well, don't be surprised because that is the essence. You see, only me talking for two of that time. Here, you know, we do like other things, you know, we talk about other things as well. We do a bit of Q&A, we do, you know, like IDP, mentor-mentee, that sort of things, okay? Right. So here, so just be reminded, there is recording there in the week 2, topic 2, and there is a thing that you need to fill out as attendance, which is fill up the 8 phases of the project life cycle. Just the phases alone. I'm not asking you for the activities. Usually, okay, if you open your ears loud and clear, usually exam that is dealing test or exam that is dealing with project life cycles will be always revolving 3 things. Number 1, what are the major activities? Major phases. Number 2, what are the major activities within those phases? And number 3 will be the intensities of the activity. Okay, intensity means that at which point in time there will be a lot of activities going on in terms of time, cost, quality, everything. That intensities is actually shown in you have to write about the intensity. There's a graph, you know, that you have to learn, whereby, you know, conceptual is not so intense, and development is getting more intense. Then you'll be a lot higher intensity during construction stage and coming down and all that. So you need to explain that in a version of the graph. Okay, so that is usually the 3 things that we really ask you during exam time or test time. Okay, and then of course sometimes if we are a bit sneaky, then we talk about, you know, which part of the project life cycle is more complicated, more application, you know, and then you need to answer in that sense. So that one will be a more of a twist there. But then the essence is there. This is the things that you have to take note of. So you have these major activities, major phases that you need to fill up, 8 major phases. So that is comprising of like 8 times 3 words per phases, or 8 times 2 words per phases. You're talking about 16 words that you need to write down in your that particular, you know, there's this feedback column that I have in the ELIP. So the deadline is tomorrow evening. If you don't fill up, I assume that you didn't go through the slides, and I assume that you didn't go through the slides, didn't go through the recording means that you don't attend the class. Okay, so that is attendance. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, give me a like if you understand. Okay, only Alan understand. Okay, good. Everybody else understand. Okay, right. So yeah, fill that up before tomorrow. Okay, go through the notes before tomorrow. Okay, go through the recordings and the notes before tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, so today's lecture, we're going to be focusing on resources now. Okay, resources. Let me get to you the notes first. Okay, got it. Share screen. Right. Okay, you can see the screen here. Huh? Okay, so basically, different phases of the project life cycle will involve different activities. Okay, and like I say, every project will need to be planned. So conceptual, like management control cycle, we talk about planning. Okay, for project life cycle, conceptual development phases, they are the planning phases for the project. And during construction, we also need to have plans, okay? Construction plans, we need to have methods plan, we need to have schedules, we need to have budgets. These are all plans, okay? So project planning is a very generic word that you actually use for many things, okay, in project management, okay? In management, planning is PL, PLOC, planning, leading, organizing, control. This is one of the major functions of management. Okay. In the project life cycle, generally, after you have a need and desire, you are in project planning already. You're in project planning, you're doing the conceptual report, you're doing the designs, all those are all plans, okay? Plans to actually finish the project, a big plan to finish a project. You're creating that plan, okay? During constructions or before constructions, we also need to plan. We need to plan for our methods. We need to plan for our time schedule. We need to plan for our costing. We need to plan for our project quality plan, PQP. We need to do risk management plan. So all this planning is actually a function. It's actually general. It's actually things that you do. Okay, it's the cornerstone. It's one of the most important thing in project management. Because if you directly go into the work, like doing the physical work without any plan, you are not giving your team a baseline to follow. You see? What do I mean by baseline? Once you have a plan, everything is a baseline. It's just like you saying that you plan to finish your study in 4 years. So that is your best plan. You need to take 4 subjects or 5 subjects every semester, or 16 or 17 or 18 credit hours. That is a plan. You see? How you're going to do it is a plan. How you're going to pay for it is a plan. How you're going to execute it is a plan. How? So that plan will tells you the like a master plan, of some sort. Yeah, they will provide you with a deadline. They will provide you with the budgets. They will provide you with the what we call generally a baseline. BASELINES, baseline. So baseline is so important. I don't know, me as an engineer, if I don't have a baseline, I can't function, Like, when I talk to people, doing meetings or whatever, I just say get to the point. Get to the point. What is the point? The point is the baseline. The baseline is what must I do? What must I not cross over? What must I hold on to? Okay? So that is baseline. And then it sets the momentum for the project. If you have the plan there, people are already worked out. And importantly for me, it puts down the mind map. You are actually before the hands-on, get your machinery on site, get your labor on site, get the things done on site. You already start to imagine what it's going to be like. To use the word imagination is a bit creative, but actually I do that a lot. Before I go into a task, it's the training of engineers, I believe, that before I go into a task, whether it's a management task, whether it's a site task, or whether what I'm going to do today, I like to imagine what my schedule would be and what kind of people I will meet and what sort of things that I would do, okay? And I like to imagine the process first. And then when I get down to site, when I get down to work, when I get down to class, I pretty much already know what to expect, you see? So it's a mind map, okay? It's a mind road map, actually. So planning gives you that. It forces your team to seek down and recalculate the drawings. It gets you to check for the material. It gets you to do your inventory list. It makes you imagine how you're going to deliver your things to site. You know, what sort of transportation, how many lorries do you need? How many barges do you need? How many boats do you need? You know, you are thinking, you know, planning, you know, in that sense. And then after that, you will look at all the materials you need to order, you need to gather them and you need to quantify them, put them in a quantity list, you know, and then you will start to also think about, you know, how you're going to execute the work first, who goes in first, you know, what machine must go in first, you know, site clearance, what machines, you know, how many of them. And then you think about then next what, you know, after you clear up the site, you do surveying work to check out the boundary. So the surveyor must go first. And how does he do the work? How are you going to look after the work? How much time the surveyor have, you see? These are all part and parcel of that roadmap. And then your subcontractor for structures, for piling goes in, you know? And then what did they do? How are you going to look after the work? How are you going to check the quality? What material must they bring? What machinery must they bring? What sort of checking are you going to look into? So all these are mind map. It actually gives you that basic background of what's going to happen. Okay, it talks about people that is supposed to be on the job that you've selected. It talks about the availability of tools, equipment, materials, and all that. It put forward risk for the project. You know, you think about the risk that you'll be facing and how you're going to be operating. You know, with those risks, are you going to manage them, or are you going to leave them alone, or are you going to do something about it? Okay. So that it provides the direction, it provides the goal, and when your team sit down together and have a solid plan, you actually are brainstorming, you actually are problem solving, you are actually problem solving on what brainstorming on what could happen, honestly. And then some of them are very real, some of them are very experience based. You've done a few projects already, you know what is it like, what should go, what should be next. You put it down on papers, you know, and what sort of checklists that you must have, what sort of quality checking that you must do, and all that. They are all part and parcel of the plan. Okay, so it provides your team with an understanding, a deeper understanding of the project. Okay, so you want to get to know the project in a lot of areas. So with that management plan, it will tell you what must be done, when you must do it, what resources you must use, and what are costs attached, and who is doing what, and all that. And especially a lot of work that you do, it deals a lot with coordination, meaning that if you do a development project, you're not only doing building, you like IDP like that, you're dealing with water, you're dealing with drainage, you're dealing with sewerage, you're dealing with a road, you're dealing with structures, car park, gardens, you know, landscaping, a lot of things that you actually deal with. So it needs to be coordinated properly. Or don't forget mechanical, electrical works. Don't forget telecom cables, you know, Cisco cables, and all that. Those are all part and parcels. And you have to deal with the external factor like external authority, you know, JKR, councils, their requirement, and all that. For IDP, is very important at this stage that you understand where is your project, where is the authority that is relevant. If it's in Samarahan, then you have the Samarahan Council, Samarahan Land and Survey, you've got the Samarahan JKR, you've got the Samarahan DID, a lot of things is Samarahan. If it's in Kuching, then Water Board will come into the picture. Depending on which area, MBKS or DBKU will come into the picture. So all your submission, all your design, and all that needs to fulfill the requirement of this authority, because our work will sambong with the external facilities. So at this stage, it's very important for you guys to get what are all the existing facilities surrounding your site, where exactly is the site, and which authorities will be the one that is in charge. And all this will actually form your conceptual report, okay? So that is part and parcel of planning as well. So planning must be well done. If it's not well done, then it's very later on, you will have problems later on, okay? Later on to actually handle the project. You'll be lost, you'll be doing a lot of emergency management. You do not do project management. Project management is the cornerstone of the activities are actually planning. So if you don't do it, you can't manage the project. So if you can't manage the project, if anything urgent happens, it's pretty much as an ongoing basis, you solve problems, then that one will be what we call emergency management. And we do not want to do emergency management, honestly, okay? It's a very, very stressful thing. Even with planning, on site, you already do a lot of ad hoc emergency things, even with a plan. So there is no such thing as planning will guarantee the success of every project, but planning will definitely, if you don't do planning, you will definitely fail. Okay, so it is a good intention, but you must generate into hard work. The problem with our industry sometimes is we sometimes have too much plan until nothing gets done. You only sit down and have meetings and meetings and meetings, and the work that never gets kicked off on site. That is one of the failures that we always see. The other failure is the opposite. You're so eager to get down to work, you don't have a good substantial plan in the beginning. So that is the failing, what we call the pain, the stones that pop your leg, as you walk along the road of the project. So we have to be very careful with balance. We have to be careful with understanding the importance of planning and what is involved in the planning and who is involved in the planning. And also do not ever forget your external factor. Conceptual report is a plan. Okay, in IDP, you are practicing that conceptual report. You are understanding the surrounding. You're doing statistics. You're doing demographic. You're doing what is the economy around that area, and what are the roads. Where are the current roads starting? Where is the acceleration, deceleration corners, and all that. You need to know what are the traffic flow around your area for you to design the road into your housing estates, okay, or your development estates. And then you also need to look into where are the drains, what are the current level next to you, the site topple and all that, the ground condition around your site, in your site, and that will actually affect your design, you see, and your choices of materials and your methods of work. These will all be affected later on, you see. In the design will affect the work, okay? And the work, the quality and the management of the work. It's a chain reaction. It's not a standalone, okay? Right, and then next thing is we also need to look into this. The main thing is in the project plan, there are things, these are the things that we go through. We have our, we need to plan for our activities, our time, our resources, our time schedules, the personnel, quality plans and all that. So you have to have a system. Okay? You have to have a system. So here, this bit here will tell you the importance of planning, okay? And then the why is it that you must do it, and how does it come into the picture? How do you apply that? With the practice of IDP, you're actually doing a lot of application of what we are talking about here in project planning. And then because in IDP, you're actually doing project planning, because none of you is going to go and build those facilities. So we are never going to be into the execution phase of the project. So yeah, everything that we talk about here in project management will actually be applicable in a sense for project planning for your IDP. Okay. But why do I talk about IDP a lot? Because that is the closest example that you all have in your mind at the moment. So that will be something that is the easiest for you to understand. That will be something that is easy for you to relate to at this point in time. So don't think that Dr. Ting is talking about IDP here because she is talking because IDP is so important or IDP is so difficult or whatever. Don't think like that. Okay? referring to IDP so that you can be able. Okay. Then here we talk about what is in the project plan, what are the elements within the project plan. Okay. Then today our main thing is to so the project plan have what and how. Always good to use workflow diagram, always good to use steps, procedures, SOP, and all these tools are to help you. Idea of Beam, yeah, a lot of you have gone through that Beam sessions. Dr. Lee actually created for everybody. Have invited speakers. Did you guys attend that? Yeah, so a lot of them joined. Yeah, you all joined that sessions with that Dr. Ezra or something like that. Eza or something like that. I think we actually insisted the 4th-year goal. So it is a concept now that it helps with project planning because they're online onto a platform so that when you do your design and when you do your management of your work, all the documents are actually readily available in that sense. Yeah. Easily available between different parties in the job. Like the architect can put up the design, the engineers can actually take it down and convert and model that into your structural design, etc., etc. So that is the concept of Beam. There's a lot of other softwares as well. I think there's one that is called Synchro that is quite popular now. So popular as in it is expensive. So, but it is popular. It's quite popular overseas, and there are people here using it to manage projects well. They actually let you see the site environment and also see how the different part, they actually use modeling to construct the building. And then the different part of the management will start to go, I mean, you manage the project, they will start to say, oh, this part is finished already, and that will be tied to your schedule, that will be tied to your budget. So if they use a very modeling method to actually let you see the site and let you see the pictures of the completion and the work that has to be done and all that. So it's like a modeling of the actual activities on site. That's how they use the softwares. Okay. So it's, our industry is getting more and more improvement, more and more technology based, more and more high tech in that sense. And as you guys go along into the industry now, especially after COVID, you will find that many things will be online, especially meetings. Most likely will be reduced, will be stick to having meetings online rather than you traveling to the site or to the place to do meetings. Okay. So in a way, efficiency will always be improved as technology advances. But that does not mean that we don't need engineers anymore, because information from, unless we're talking about AI, otherwise, there's no replacement of human brains at this point in time in terms of understanding, filtering all the information and all that. Okay, right. And to put forward future plans and corrective actions and all that. Okay. So here today we will be covering. We're actually quite on time. So we'll be covering resources planning today. And from resources planning, next week we will move into talking about work breakdown structure, and then combining resources planning with work breakdown structure together in that way. And then you will off to do, this is the beginning part of planning. So resources planning, you need to know what resources to plan, correct or not? The things. Planning, I always tell people planning, management, and all that, those are nouns, those are actions. But you must know what, those are verbs. Verb is the action, it's the things that you do. But what you must manage is important. Don't always talk about management. I need to manage, but then you manage what, So the what is very important. Yeah. Any questions on project planning before we move into talking about resources? Okay. No questions? So you all digest for a little bit. Okay, you all digest for a little bit. You give me 2 minutes break. I go to the. I go and do something. Okay. No questions? Any questions? Any chat? Let me see. Nothing on the chat. Okay. Okay. Cool. Right. So let's move on to talk about the resources bit. Okay. Right. So resources are about people and things that are required to complete the task. Okay. So you have what. This is your what. If you want to plan for your resources, manage your resources, these are the what. You need to plan for people, material, okay, special facilities and equipment, financial resources, cash funds needed, organizational resources, and all that. Okay. So these are number one, staff, stroke team, stroke labor. Okay. So here we talk about the bigger things on people. We talk about staffing. We talk about management and above, meaning that people who are the engineers, the project engineers, okay, project director, project manager, project engineers, site supervisors, part of work and site supervisors, they are about the same. Okay. And then those are all supervision, very on-site supervision team. At the supervision level and above, those are what we call management. So these are the people looking at project staffing and management team on the site. Then we have labor. Labor are site supervisor and below. We're talking about skilled laborers, which are the people who needs to go for certification, such as electricians, plumbers, and etc. etc. Okay. Main layers, welders. These are all very specific tradesmen that will be considered as labor, but skilled laborers. Okay. And then we will also have semi-skilled laborers. Carpenters are semi-skilled laborers. They don't need to go for certification, but they need experience. They need to have good quality workmanship and all that. And we've got unskilled laborers. These are the what we call general workers, people who carry things around, people who, according to instructions, do nailing, do concreting and all that. Okay. Sorry, can you give me a minute? I've got a phone call. So many things so urgent this morning. Oh, sorry. There are something to do with our management thing that needs urgent attention. Sorry. Okay. Right. Wait. Okay. Where am I now? Okay. So then we have these tradesmen, skilled, semi-skilled workers and all that. So these are the people for the job. And machineries drivers, these are tradesmen as well. And skilled workers, tradesmen, so it can be under the direct employment of the contractors. It can be subcontracts, okay? And it all depends. Usually subcontracts, we usually subcontract the work and that comes with the labor, okay? So not all the time that we don't really do subcontract labor, okay? Meaning that you only subcontract the labor, then you buy materials and all that. In small renovation work, maybe we do that, like your own house renovation, we may do that. But in the general bigger type of construction, we don't have the time to actually manage it like that. Like you want to do labor only subcontractor, unless these people are very, very skilled. They are very, very specialized people like the welders, or very specialized people like there's this work that we always need to do, like galvanizing, dealing with chemicals, and maybe even like some of the geotechnical testing, and rebound hammer test and all that. Those testing kind of work, professional kind of work, we may need to have subcontract labor. But generally, labor will come with some form of material, some form of machinery, some form of equipment. So we don't do a pure labor subcontractors, okay? So even we talk about subcontracting, it will come together with other parts of the resources, okay? So labor, people, so engineering deals a lot with people. You need to pay their salary, you need to pay for their expertise, plus other benefits such as leaves, medical, social, insurance, so those are all part and parcel of the money that will be involved when we calculate a rate for labor, okay? So if we talk about semi-skilled workers or skilled general workers, we say pay $50 a day. 50 ringgit a day, 50 ringgit will mean his pay, his insurance, and his also minimum, okay? So for example, if you pay an engineer 2,000, that is his pay, okay? And including the leave and the time that they don't work, like leave is the time that they don't work, but you still have to pay them, you see. So it will be more. You pay them 24,000 a year for 11 weeks. 11 months of working, or 11 and a half months of working. Then you are talking about the rate that you put down in the budget will be a lot higher than just $2,000 a month. And you need to include leave, you need to include medical expenses. Sometimes you need to include what else? Special, anything on specialty stuff also need to as well. Like can't think of anything special. Bonuses, it's very, very special. And then now with COVID, we need to include testing. Like COVID testing and all that. Those are all very special things that you need to increase in the rate for your labor, increase in the rate of your staff, and it's all about the money bit of things later. So we'll explain that later in cost management later. But you have to understand that resources are tied with your time. This will be tied with your productivity, how fast they work, that is productivity. And that you also tie it with your money, okay? So these are all interrelated, right? And then you have material. Material, we're generally splitting it into three components: the building material, the temporary material, and the consumables, okay? So consumables, temporary material, consumables are the things that you throw away, is part of the operations, okay? And part of the operations and all that. And then we also have temporary material. Don't forget about temporary material, the scaffolding, the formwork. Those are temporary material that you don't see in the project after the project is finished, but it must be there for the completion of the project. And then you have the permanent construction materials such as the formwork, the concrete, the steel bars, the asbestos, the ceilings, you know, the windows, the doors, you know, the pipes, the cables, the bitumen and all that. Those are all permanent materials, okay? And then we have got plant and equipment facilities. So we put that into a few facilities. We're talking about big things, okay, like batching plant, okay, storing, testing facilities, okay, lab plants, those are facilities. But equipment wise, we will base it on few things like big equipment, like I won't call it equipment. I shouldn't be calling it equipment. So it'll be major equipment or major machine. Actually, we call it machineries. Okay, machineries are bigger things like cranes, earth moving machines. Like you've learned earth moving machines from me last semesters, and then did you or did you not? No, you didn't, because that was given to Rock Ida, or you have some, I forgot, okay? Barges, trucks, and excavators, all these things are machineries. And then you've got the smaller equipment, and the equipments are like hoils, compressors, hammers, piling hammers, you know. They have how piling machines are machines here. These are piling hammers, these are equipment. Okay, and then what else are in piling what else are in equipment, like joining equipment, pipe joining equipment, fusion equipment, you know, that sort of thing. So those are all smaller things that you can actually cut it around on site and all that. Then you have got tools. Tools are like hammer, chainsaw, those are the tools, okay, or some of the smaller handheld reading machines and all that, okay. So these are part and parcel of machineries. Then we will have other organizational resources. These are what we usually call the indirect cost. And normally we would deal with it such as, you know, the people in the office. Okay, those are the clerks, you know, the clerks, administrative team, the lorry driver who send the things to the site, you know, they belong to the main office, they belong to the warehouse, the procurement, the logistics, the contractual people in the offices. These are what we call organizational resources, and normally we will lump them under what we call indirect costs. Okay, the indirect cost to the to the project. Okay, so they have to have a certain percentage of indirect costs within your costing and budgeting later on. Okay, and then we have subcontractors, and subcontractors are people who will actually provide certain services, materials, or expertise, okay, and they will be the one that will carry out that portion of the job. You will hear a lot of jobs that are fully sub and all that. That is very bad practice. Normally, we do not practice. I mean, like, you're not supposed to practice like that in any contract, in a way. But there's many. Our industry has been held because of people who do a lot of this subcontracting, full sub work. That is not healthy, because that means the main contractor, your expertise is only to get license. So it's like to get license and get job, and, you know, become a middleman. And, you know, that is not healthy. A professional consultant should have enough of CVs. They should have enough of qualifications. They have enough of experience to actually do the work. Subcontract are usually people, let's say in the project now, because projects are very all-rounded, you have a lot of components. So there will be subcontractor doing some smaller components to support the main contractor in completing the work. And usually it will come as a full, as a specialized, you need to provide labor, expertise, and material. That will be the usual subcontracting. Like I said, labor-wise, unless it's really a very specialized, like a testing facilities and all that, we don't really do labor. Very professional things are, not to say specialties, very professional items will probably do labor subcontracting. Okay, or really, really, really very low work, like you need you need a team of people to come and just, do bar bending or whatever, but that rarely happens, okay? Normally, it will be your own direct labor, or it will come with the material. That subcontractor will come with the labor and the material to do the work and put in their expertise, okay? So it will be labor, which is the expertise, okay? Then we also have very specialized technologies like maybe the welding, cathodic protection. Cathodic protections are like things like, you need to cover your pipe, or you need to cover a certain part of the building with protection. Then or pre-stressing technology, IBS technology, these sort of things are, maybe we do direct sub. IBS, welding, steel work, and then we also have protection work, and pre-stressing works. This one are like something that a normal contractor probably can't do, and they need a help from other contractor. Like even sometimes they also put roofing under this as well, that they have to get professional people to come and install the roof. So these are specialized also. What we normally have is this one, very general, okay? Subcontracting. Okay. So, well, from the understanding of all this labor, we need to actually know the productivity of these labor. Sorry, for these resources, not labor, everything. Productivity of the subcontractor, the productivity of your plant and machineries, productivity of your labor and all that, and the productivity of the suppliers and your factories to produce those materials and all that, it will be affected, it will affect you greatly. So whenever you select the labor, it is pretty much a part of procurement as well, where you are selecting the right thing, the right people to do the job, and the right machine to do the job. Okay, so you need to understand the productivities of all the productivity rate of all the resources that you have. Without a good understanding of all these resources, you cannot actually plan them well. Okay, so resources needs to be planned out. It needs to be, you need to select first based on usually their reputation, their productivity rate and all that, and experience of these people and the machines and the plant and the distance, the geography. All these will be affecting the selection of your resources. Okay, so I repeat: geography, the transportation and logistic, okay, that one will be part and parcel of the geography of the site, and all that will affect your selection of the resources, and their reputation, the productivity rate and efficiencies of the resources will also be affected, will also affect your selection. The level of specialization and expertise will also affect the decision in selection, okay, and of course, the reputation of the facilities or the suppliers and subcontractors will also be a part and parcels of your selection criteria. So all this will make you look into this plan here. Will start off from resources. It will look into what choices you have, and sometimes you don't have choices because you're constrained by these factors that I talk about. Okay. Then after that, you will need to know the next thing is the amount of resources. Okay, the amount of resources that is needed will be very tied in very closely with the activities of the job. Okay, so I am considering whether I want to move into talking about the activities, because I believe that work breakdown structure activities, you need to combine activities with the resources. Okay, so now we understand what resources we have. The next is we must plan out our activities. And then when we plan out our activities, we combine them to do the resources data sheets. Okay, and I don't think I want to go into the activities for today. I think we have enough of ideas, enough of things for you to settle in and go down into your brain over the weekend. You go through these notes, I will post it up, and then part of it will be talking about work breakdown. You will read through it, and we will teach you how to do actual work breakdown structure, and that is how you actually map out the activities of your work, okay, and activities of your project, and all the works that are involved, the steps and all that are involved. That is part and parcel of the whole planning system. Work breakdown will be the major backbones for all planning activities. Understand? Yeah. Okay. So I think we will stop here today. If we go further, it will take up maybe a bit along lah. So I think I will do it with one session. And it's week 3 anyway next week, so we still have enough of time to cover it nice and slowly. Okay. Any questions so far from the floor?
Morning, Doctor. I have a question regarding the subcontractor and labor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so during my internship, I was conducting a BQ. So
Yep.
the project cost is 400,000, and then I was assigned to find a subcontractor to finish up the project lah.
Yep.
So when they got it for 300,000, whereas I calculate for scope of work only to finish up the project is 400,000. So what I'm scared that if the company give out the award letter to the subcon for 300,000, I'm scared that the value is not up to, unable to they are unable to finish the work because of very tight budget. So how do you want to know the right price for that project if we want to give to the subcontractors?
You are already thinking like a project manager, which is very good. Okay. When we do planning, okay. Who am I talking to again? Fazli, is it?
This is Zaid. This is
Fazli.
Zaid. No. Me and Fazli are together right now.
Oh, okay, cool. Right. So what happened is it's good that you're thinking like that. So whenever we do project plan, we are actually essentially we are actually doing project planning. So your BQ that you did was your project plan. Okay. So it's nothing wrong to have a higher amount. Okay. And there are circumstances you will see that in our budgeting work, like in the later on when we talk about costing and budgeting, you see that you've got definitive budget, you've got definitive budget, you've got detailed budgeting, you've got conceptual budgeting, you've got analogy budgets and all that. So there's different type of costing and estimates that is available. So you as a client or you as a consultant, because you do not know the workflow and you maybe cannot imagine how the contractor will carry out the work. So your quotation, if let's say your BQ is higher, is actually normal. It's actually normal. And if the contractor is being competitive or the subcontractor is being competitive, they will quote according to their management ideas and all that, how they manage the project, where they get the materials and all that. So in this case, them quoting lower, you having higher BQ is completely normal. Okay, it's completely normal. You don't have to be worried about that you have done the wrong thing or something, or they have done the wrong thing. But having to say that, if the differences is huge, 400,000 job, they quote 300,000, that is the 25% difference. Okay, when there is a 25% difference, it is a very alerting kind of thing. It means that it's either your information that you get from all your suppliers and all that are a bit too high. That is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, because suppliers normally, if it's just a quote, they will quote you higher anyway. So that is the thing that the question is, are they under quoting? Did they read the project DQ carefully? Did they include everything? Don't say it later on, labor and material, they thought that is labor only, so they quote labor only. And this happens not only in subcontracting, right? It doesn't happen only in subcontracting, it happens in all contracts. I remember many years back when I had a job, it was Miri, and there was a, we went into tender, we were the second lowest, the second or third lowest, and the second and third lowest, the difference was only like, let's say 12 million and 12.1 or 12.2 million. The difference is only about that 200,000 kind of thing. For a 12 million job, when you have 100,000, 50,000, 200,000 kind of differences is quite normal. Okay, but we've got a subcontractor here that quote 9 million plus. And it was a total alert. Like the consultant engineers were all alert. The client were also alert. The client is happy whenever your subcontractor or your contractor quote a lot lower than your budget. You are clapping your hands like the seal who got the food in the zoo. Like, wow, happy. I'm saving a lot of money. You see, so in your position, you'll be very happy. They quote 300,000, your budget is 400,000. Immediately you are saving like 100K. Why not? Yeah, but you have to be alert that whether they can finish the job or not. And in this case, a 3 million and a 12 million is a huge difference, and they actually call them in for an interview. And that is something that you can do also. Seek for verification. Seek to have a meeting or seek to make it on paper that whether they have included this in the project. And then you can always ask them, are you sure? Then if they are sure, if they are really sure, and in this case, the contractor that I have come across, they got the job because in the clarification meeting, they tell the consultant and the client, I can do the job, no problem. And then at the end of the day, you know what happened? Because they did not, because the quotation itself, the tender itself is actually for the client will supply the pipe. Okay, the contractor only do the work. But these contractors, they are so inexperienced that they forgot that to join the pipes, you have a lot of fittings. And the fittings are not included in the supply list. And the fittings are the one that is costing that few million. So in your case, it's better to get them in and go through the project with them and seek clarification. And you also do that. Normally, when we do clarification meeting, we will bring in the top 3 tenderer. We do not just want to bring in the lowest tenderer also, to be fair, So we also talk to every one of them to include that. And then for those who quote higher, you may want to ask them, do you want to give us a discount? You see? And maybe they can give you a discount. And but then they have included a lot more things, you see? So it's really about sitting down with them and also all on paper through a formal mode of communication, ask them to verify whether they understood every single thing that they have to quote and the work that they have to do and the things that they have to provide. I can tell you many of these circumstances, if the difference is too big, something as big as 10% onwards or 10-15% onwards, you have to be on alert, and which you did were on alert, and that was good. And then you have to start to check with them whether they have included everything, okay, in the meeting. And there are many subcontractors. Sometimes they want to play the sneaky way, is they actually purposely drop off something. I have a subcontractor who purposely dropped off they, in the quotation, they say that they are going to bring in the machines plus the piles to do piling work. But then the machine that they quote was actually a piling rig that is manual one, like the one that you pull along the side, and that is going to take a lot of time. So then they actually get you, if you're not happy with that, once you give them a contract already, you sign a contract already, and they did bring in the piling machine, and that piling machine is not what you want, and they will actually increase the price. So some people play that sneaky game. They will change things. They will give you something really cheap first, and then once you're not happy with it, then you want to increase, then you have to pay more. So these are some things that we have to be watchful of. And the other thing, like I said, inexperience, they didn't know that it's that complicated, and then they end up quoting too low. Okay.
Okay,
So
thank you,
I think
Doctor.
the best way is to ask for verification. And generally, most organizations, client organization, unless your boss is really gila until gila do it sampai, gila punya, then normally as professionals, you should be on alert because what your engineers do in the definitive estimates are actually an estimate, it's actually a professional estimate. It's not surprised normally the contractor will go higher, not lower. If it's lower, it's a saving. And if they're so crazy about the saving, they couldn't be bothered asking, then you are going to bring yourself into a lot of problems later. I can almost guarantee that. Especially like your case is a 25% difference. So that is an indication something is wrong with that particular quotation that is done by that particular tender, that particular subcontractor. Maybe they didn't include certain materials. Maybe they are quoting you very, very simple, cheap type of machines, or maybe they're quoting you like 2 guys working on site instead of what you expect, 5-person or 6-person, that sort of thing. So you have to be very, very careful. Okay.
Okay, Doctor. Thank you.
Nothing wrong to be careful, nothing wrong to ask questions, nothing wrong to have tender verification meetings and all that. Okay.
Dr. Ting,
Yes.
that was a very interesting experience that you have there. So that's quite a question in my mind. If this thing it happens and the contract has been awarded, and this means that they are unable to complete the work unless they propose for something like to increase their contract price, something like that, is it?
Yeah.
So my question is, what are the documentations required from them? Is it a change order request, a variation order request, something like that?
You need to deal with this before you award. Okay, everything needs to be verified before you award. Okay, and then later on, once this tender verification meeting, what you can do is get them to report. Like, if let's say they really go according to what you want, the models, the models of the pump, equipment, and all that. Recently, I also have a project that they actually underquote on the pumps because it's a water raw water intake tank. So the pump down there, there's 3 pumps, and there is a model by M&E engineers, possible capacities and all that. But then now the contractor has problems trying to fulfill that particular capacity. So they are trying to give another model. Then that is a situation that you say is already in the contract, Alan. So it's already in the contract. It's about then you need to restudy the proposal, whether you accept or not accept that proposal. So once you accept the proposal, that means you are actually taking all the relevant documents that they have submitted to you and you agree to that proposal. And that will be what we call a variation order. So you follow through with a variation order kind of work order or work variation order or material variation order kind of procedures and process. Okay. But if you're talking about before the work starts, okay. But of course, in doing the work, you can disagree. You can say that I actually insist that you do that. And if you insist they do that, they have to do it because contractually, whatever that has been proposed, you should have stick to that.
Okay?
So helping you getting another model in, if it's not an equivalent, the the engineers have all the right to reject. And
I
and
see.
insist on you want the actual model or equivalent. They can always give an equivalent, but it has to be an equivalent.
I see.
Yeah. So you have to insist on that. I mean, if you want to, like, it's just the difference of being reasonable. If you want to help, but you must help within reason. But if you don't want to help, there's nothing wrong with that also. You see? So you can always go back to the contract and say, I insist on it, but do you really want to do that? So that is always the balance that on site you have to decide. Okay? With the
I
client,
see.
whether they agree with you or not to have equivalent model. But if that model is obviously not equivalent, you cannot take it, you see.
Yes.
But if it's the equivalent, it's from China, and there's the same one, is in terms of capacities and all that, you must have the criteria of what is equivalent. Is it maintenance? Is it repair? Is it after sale service? These are all very important criteria for the equivalent part. Besides the different capacities, the different material, the quality of material and all that, there must be a way of certifying whether that particular proposal is equivalent or not an equivalent.
I see.
So if we talk about before contract, then everything is still a lot easier to manage. Meaning that you have a meeting with them, everything is recorded, and then you will have to write down that they are going to this, and then you clarify with them whether you're bringing in what type of machines, how many people working and all that, and then you'll be working here how many months and all that. So all this must be all stated very clearly through that meetings, and then after that you can get them to come up with a proposal, like a simple write-up, or you can come up with a simple contract stating all this and then get them to sign. What I will do is normally, let's say if I'm the one proposing, then I will write down all my proposal and then send it to the client to sign, chop and sign. And then after that, everything else is already stated in that particular simple proposal quotation sort of things. But if your subcontractors are a bit not so educated, then you may have to have a proper subcontract agreement, and that inside there, those clauses that is dealing with materials, labor, equipment, you have to be very clear, and you have to sit down again with them and tell them that this is what you're signing. Then after that, there's no turning back.
Okay. So the remedial actions, let's say everything has been signed. Taking the case just now, like the fittings is not calculated, the remedial action is just variation order request, is it?
No, that one cannot. That one is a complete miss out.
That one is habis lah.
That one is really, there's only two way already. Number one, you have to insist them, because you already put the budget down as 9 million. Okay? Especially dealing with government, you've already asked the government, the state government or the federal government for 9 million. Okay? So this is the budget already. The contractor come and tell you that I didn't put this, I didn't put that. That is their problem. Okay? There's no choice. That is their problem. Okay? So that is the hard way. That is your problem, you have to resolve it, but likely is they will end up never completing the job. They will leave the job halfway, and the project will go into the sick project category. Okay, so that is the usual case. Okay, so the other case is you want to work on it together. If you do have contingency amount of money, and that contingency amount sum is enough to actually cover the fittings, you can actually get more budgets and all that. Then there's two ways of doing this. Either you shut the whole project and retender it. That means you terminate. Okay, that is a very long process. You terminate the whole thing and then retender it to be fair, especially if the amount is very big. Okay, especially when you can't get more budget. If the contingency usually about 5 to 10%, if it's a 12 million project, most likely the contingency will only be 1 million. And if the 1 million contingency cannot cover the whole project, most likely you will have to call for termination and retendering. And then what kind of legal action you want to take on that particular contractor, blacklist them or whatever, that is a separate story based on your own organization policy, no?
I see.
like JKR, they will have their own policy, DID will have their own policy, and then if you're a developer, you have your own policy to never use this contractor again, or you want to sue them for losses and all that, that is also possible. That would be in a dispute kind of environment. Okay? Then, of course, if the contingency amount is correct, okay, if the contingency amount is enough, you may want to consider utilizing the contingency amount, and then that would be under variation.
I see.
Then you will go for the work order and the variation order that I spoke about. Yeah. So it is really about different circumstances. There are circumstances where right after, before the civil project starts, the contractor realized their mistake and what can you do? And some is tender, and then before award of the tender, they actually found out that they didn't put something. So there are different stages and there are different type of remedial actions there, you know. So normally, let's say after I tender and I realize that I forgot to put a lot of things. So what I will normally do is I will talk to the client and say, I pull up, I don't consider mine, So, or if that is private client, that is a bit easier to say, But then if let's say it's a JKR or the government organization, then what we normally do is we will get these the officers involved to actually extend to not award the contract, hopefully, and then we'll tell them that our price we'll go over the tender validity period, and then we'll tell them that tender price is not valid anymore. So that is another trick in that way. That is a softer way of doing things, a bit of a backdoor way, but that is also a way to make sure that everybody is sort of happy in the sense there's no point in getting a contractor forcing him to take the amount of money that he quoted and he can't finish anyway, correct or not?
Correct.
So then there will be circumstances where, like I said, a very smaller scale miscalculation or misquotation, like that palm stories that I tell you. Then those is usually, if it's under contingency, you can actually consider using contingency, or you can actually accept the equivalent, and then but you have to have criteria to check what is the equivalent, and of course the really huge thing is really they cannot finish a job, and then you already halfway through, then you have to talk about termination, and that will be a very messy things to execute. You need to pay them for what they have done, and then take back everything and re-tender everything. And for the case of that type 3 million difference project, the client has no choice at the end of the day because the project went into a sick mode and they have to re-tender everything.
I see. Now I understand how it works as these situations. At least I got an idea lah. Thank you very much.
Probably it's always about experiencing it lah. I mean, like if you don't experience it, then you. But before quotation, like I said just now, the question was being asked by Fadila and his friends, right? So that question is basically we will get because not everything is not confirmed yet. So it's good to have a tender clarification or verification meeting and then redo the proper contract later on. That would be the best way. So as professional engineers, our job is to catch these things before it happens. If you don't catch it and wait until it happens during tender, it happens after tender, it happens after the job starts, then things will get messier and messier and messier as time goes along. Okay?
Okay, I will remember that. Thank you.
Now you talk to me, the solution that I give you is free, but then later on when you come and see me in the future when you're working, I have to charge you money,
I understand.
Just kidding.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, it's good to have discussions like this, yeah, we talk about a lot of different things, it's project management is always a very interesting topic, it's a lot of things that we can discuss and sort of share with one another experiences and all that. Okay, so we finish with resources, type of resources. So on Tuesday next week, we will do resources, the work breakdown structure, activities and all that, and then add it up, merge it together with resources. And then we will do our resources data sheet. And then from that data sheet, we will start to do our time, cost, quality planning. Right. Any questions? Anything else? Okay. So that will be the flow of next week. Next week we'll do work breakdown, do a resources data sheet, and then I'll explain to you how to use that resources data sheet to do a cost plan, quality plan, and all that. But that cost plan, quality plan, schedule, and all that will be like as we go along, as we move along. So we'll start with scheduling first, and with the work breakdown structure, we will do project scheduling and what is the Gantt chart and all that. We'll move bit by bit. By week 5, we should be finishing up with time planning, moving into cost planning. Yeah. I just want to make the pacing of this subject very gentle, very nice and slow, but enough information, like enough of things for you to go along, to use when you graduate in the future. Yeah. Right. So, okay. Now I forgot. I almost want to stop everything already. Oh, yeah, the QR code. This is what some people have been waiting for. This is Thursday, huh? Okay. Oh, have I stopped sharing? Oh, I have. Wait. Very smart. Okay. Group 1, go ahead. Group 2, go ahead. Group 3, go ahead. Okay, now I'm going back to group 1. So that one just now camera not ready. One now get ready. Group 1. Shoot. Done, group 1.
Okay.
2. Group 3. Okay, now we go to people who are needing QR list. Anyone from group 3 that needs to have manual attendance, read out your student number now. Group 3-1. Calling group 3, no. Group 2, get ready. Anyone who needs manual attendance from group 2?
Hello, doctor.
Yeah,
65297.
Adelina, is it?
Yes.
Okay, done.
Thank you.
Me, madam.
Yeah,
65260.
65260. Hanif, is it?
Yes. Thank you, madam.
Anything else? Group 1, get ready. Whoever needs manual attendance. Anyone need manual attendance here?
66438, doctor.
648. Lydia Wati, huh? Okay, done. Anyone else? Group 1?
63689, madam.
36689, huh? Nadia, is it?
Okay.
Correct, not Nadia.
Yes, correct, madam.
Okay, done. Alrighty, done. No more. Okay, so you wait for my posting for this recording. And then after that, I will after that I will actually, that's it, wait for next class. What am I talking about? So you guys need to remind me of all the dates that I make appointment with you, okay? Which is on the 5th and 26th. 26th is for my own mentor mentee, the general mentor mentee sessions, okay?